Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Local teams band together to provide a key piece of equipment, sports bras. The Women's Sports Foundation estimates that 3.4 million high school-aged girls participate in a sport in comparison to 3.6 million boys. Still, although numbers have risen in recent years, studies show that physical activity tends to decrease as girls go through puberty. Experts say this isn't due to a lack of passion, but the lack of comfort that takes shape in the absence of sports bras. To remove an often forgotten barrier to women and girls participating in sports, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, and Riverhounds joined together with Operation Warm and Fly (FWD) to distribute sports bras to the Pittsburgh Public Schools girls flag football team. While each team does its share of giving back to the city, whether it's supporting Juneteenth festivities, or the Pittsburgh Pride Parade, or hosting a charity event for vulnerable communities, Riverhounds and Riveters Senior Director of Ticketing Nicole Rudy told Pittsburgh City Paper that the teams involved couldn't pass up the opportunity to work together and ensure that girls could comfortably play their favorite sport. It's a piece of equipment that goes forgotten, and the equipment that a young girl might need to feel comfortable playing that sport, and a sports bra is one of those things that is very important, and especially as girls get into those teenage years, it can be something that deters them from wanting to continue participating, Rudy says. So any opportunity we have to help encourage young females in our area to stay engaged in athletics, we're all in for helping out. Where Operation Warm is a nonprofit dedicated to supplying children in need with coats and shoes, Fly FWD, co-founded by the Philadelphia Eagles, ensures that girls in sports have access to sports bras. As a part of a collaboration between the two organizations, volunteers braved the cold to mark National Women in Sports Day, February 5, by heading to Acrisure Stadium to package and distribute 500 sports bras to 250 athletes from the Pittsburgh Alderdice, Brashear, Carrick, Obama, and Westinghouse flag football teams. As Rudy observed, studies have shown that, as girls get older, breast-related discomfort in the absence of a sports bra was an often cited reason they'd stop participating in sports. Yet cost and parents' discomfort in purchasing sports bras for their children can mean that the problem isn't solved, and a promising athlete never reaches her full potential. Pittsburgh Penguins Chief People Officer and General Counsel Tracy McCants Lewis recalls that, during her childhood when she ran track, some of her teammates resorted to binding their breasts with ace tape to get the support they needed. Memories like that, Lewis said, make it important to ensure that current and future generations of female athletes aren't in such dire straits. Girls have dreams to be engaged in sports, and we want to make sure that they have the resources necessary to be able to achieve their dreams, to be able to play and engage in sports, Lewis said. And so I think for the sports teams to come together, to pull their resources together to be able to support girls and women in sport, is so important. As a longtime supporter of girls' flag football teams in the Commonwealth, Pittsburgh Steelers Director of Community Relations Blair Holmes Davis says the NFL team couldn't pass up the opportunity to help the players continue to live up to their potential. Additionally, Davis says that the drive's donations went to flag football players as well as members of the soccer and swim teams. Davis added that the Steelers have supported the players by hosting clinics for girls' flag football. Davis explained that there was no better way to commemorate a holiday dedicated to celebrating how far women in sports have come than to continue showing support. Girls' flag football is now a sanctioned sport in Pennsylvania, and our team, as well as the Philadelphia Eagles, really worked hard to get that passed here, Davis says. And so we've worked really, really closely to make sure that we're not only collaborating with the schools and the folks who administer that program, but also just making sure we're able to lift the young women who participate in it. Ultimately, although the partnership with Operation Warm is new and Women and Girls in Sports Day only comes once a year, the plan is to work year-round to give back to the city of Pittsburgh and ensure that female athletes have all that they need to thrive. With the sports teams, we continue to all work together to make sure that our community is supported, Davis said. While we're excited for everything that happens on the field with our individual sports, we also really want people to know that each individual sports team is here to support the community. Former Pittsburgh Steelers coach finds new NFL home. Former Pittsburgh Steelers assistant offensive line coach Chris Morgan is heading back to his roots and joining the Denver Broncos. He will join Sean Payton's staff as their assistant offensive line coach. Morgan has roots near the area, having played for the University of Colorado from 1995 to 1999. That will give him a sense of home, though this is the first time he will return to Colorado to coach one of the teams in the state. Morgan was let go by Ben Johnson after being hired as the run game coordinator and offensive line coach in 2024. He spent 2022 to 2024 with the Bears, but only had run game coordinator added to his title in 2024. Before that, Morgan was with the Steelers for a year, but he gained his most valuable experience with the Atlanta Falcons from 2016 to 2020 as the offensive line coach. Now, even as a tenured position coach, Morgan will have the chance to rebuild himself up Payton's staff in hopes of getting another offensive line coaching job somewhere else. Old Pittsburgh Steelers WR target could be a trade candidate once again. A familiar trade target could again be on the move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk is reportedly being floated around the NFL as a candidate to get traded, and teams have started calling the 49ers after his availability. Diana Russini of The Athletic reported teams were poking around and asking about Aiyuk. When asked earlier this week, General Manager John Lynch did not turn it down right away. That typically happens with really good players. I remember 2 years ago having similar conversations. You get calls and you always listen to calls, Lynch said via Grant Cohn of Sports Illustrated. Since Kyle Shanahan and I have been here, we've been the number 2 cash-spending team. In the last 4 years, we're the 4th highest cash-spending team. So at some point, you have to reset a little bit, or at least recalibrate. You can't just keep pressing the pedal. Aiyuk is being paid $30 million per year after he inked his deal with the 49ers. The Steelers were involved in that trade scenario up until the very end. Yet, Aiyuk had a disappointing season after the extension, suffering a torn ACL that would end his season early. If the Steelers were to make that trade, they would be acquiring a player with a big contract and injury concerns. They are clearly interested in him as a player. And you fan? What do you think of Brandon Aiyuk's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.